Hello, everybody. Darshana Avila here, somatic sex and intimacy coach and tantric body worker. And I am here from day 10 of Power to the P.
Day 10.
And we're going to shake the computer.
Okay. We won't move very much.
Sorry, we don't want to give anybody vertigo out there.
Great.
All right. I'm here with my friend, colleague, and tantric hotel housemate is what I'm calling her, Kim Keller.
Best roommate ever.
So Kim and I know one another for not even quite a year now, have similar work in the world, a lot of passions and joy in common. We connected first through some women's embodiment work, and she is a fantastic tantric practitioner and sex and intimacy coach in her own right. She works up in Ashland, Oregon area. And we're both here doing a training that is not actually related to these juicy things per se, business coaching training, but it's good because it's helping us learn how to talk to you. And I invited Kim into my practice, which was a really fantastic experience for me today. So as those of you who've been following along know, I've committed to the month of February as daily mindful masturbation month for me. Self-love, self-pleasure. And so I've been, by and large, doing this as part of my morning routine to help keep myself consistent. And just because it's a time of day when I notice that more often than not, my sexual energy is pretty alive and active in the mornings once I give myself a chance to kind of like ease in and do these other practices that support me. So this morning, Kim and I co-created our own little temple space.
We did. We turned our hotel room into a temple.
Yeah, really
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
And so I want to just share a little bit about my account, which I have not talked to Kim about yet.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to hear like your feelings about it. So we agreed to, like, I got up a little earlier. I did my morning pages, a little journaling and just some things to like get myself awake. And then after you woke up, we agreed, like I said, I want to move my body a little. She said she wanted to sit a little, and then we would find our way together and each be in our place of solo lovemaking side by side. And the option for witnessing was something that I know I extended as an offer if she wanted it. And I asked to have the option for myself if I wanted to be witnessed. But mostly this is a solo practice and we're still honoring it as such. So the thing that I really wanted to comment on was how we could be in our separate spaces in the same room and the connected energy. So I was on my yoga mat, still clothed, mostly just stretching my body. And Kim's sitting over on the other side of the room. And I think you had your bottoms off.
I did. I had my bottoms off in a nice big jar of coconut oil and my jade eggs.
Smart woman.
Yeah.
And just the shift of energy as we're both breathing and sounding in our separate practices, but shared space, what that was doing to the energetic field was so powerful. And I just noticed like all this arousal rising in my body as I'm stretching and doing my yoga asanas. I don't know what you were doing over there if you want to share about it.
Well, once you started chanting, and so when she started doing the mantras and really bringing in that energy, and I could feel that coming from her, I was running that through my body with the egg, with some self-massage, with my coconut oil, and really feeling how that was opening me up. So I had an unexpectedly early orgasm. It was spot on.
That's what I was feeling.
Yeah, it was way earlier than I anticipated. And so, but I go with flow and I believe and trust my body's wisdom. And so what I wanted to say was then the reverse piece happened. So I had climaxed. And then by the time you moved into being fully naked, which was fascinating, that not watching each other, but knowing each other's where we are in the room and feeling into that energy. So when you started to arouse, then that brought me back for a second round, and I allowed that energy to flow through my body, which has then moved myself in front of the mirror.
Right.
And there's a well-placed mirror to the floor that I was able to put a towel in front of and expose myself to myself and be able to watch my own arousal as listening to Darshana's and letting that move through my body. It was so, my heart was just
juicy.
so full.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful experience. I also loved, so Kim mentioned that I did some mantra chanting, and I loved being able to, at one point, I asked if I could sit in front of her, and we sat cross-legged facing one another, and I guided her to the nyasam, which are the specific touch points on the body, the energetic points that these mantras and offerings that I do each day as part of my ritual that they correspond to, and it corresponds to the chakras. And it was so beautiful as I'm chanting what I chant every day, which is an honoring to the divine feminine, to have the divine feminine right here in body, this one, and share in the sisterhood of that, and just the honoring and the reverence. It was very, very touching for me.
The other part I want to say about that is, so I have a chakra practice. I work with chakras. That's my go-to. That's where everything starts. But to have you add that form of chakra to my chakra, it was like this whole new piece. It was so lovely. It was just beautiful to have us in that field.
And what I really want to say is, today it's tending a little toward the woo. Yes, I know this is the esoteric components. And for some people that might be really resonant. And for others that's like, this is not my thing. It was amazing, lovely, and beautiful. But if I focus in on what was the single biggest takeaway, what really touched me was our ability to co-create and coexist in this space together with such innocence and such freedom, to take the shame away from it, because masturbation for most of us in its origins, if nothing else, is a very furtive and secretive and private practice. And then maybe we share with partners or something like that. But there's a way in which layers and layers of shame are heaped on top of all that masturbation signifies in our culture. And so to be in a space where we both did not have to hide anything, could celebrate our pleasure, could celebrate our bodies, could step outside of that self-consciousness of like, oh, does my ass look fat right now? What if she sees my tummy rolls? Or what if I'm not touching myself skillfully enough? Or my sounds are weird? Honestly, none of that. None of that. It was just so easy because we chose it. And that's really what it is. It's a choice. And if you can find somebody else who shares in that choice with you, there's a power in coming together for these practices.
And there's something I want to add about
Please.
that. And that is, I've been in experiences where there have been different arousals in the space together. And sometimes what comes out of it is, gosh, she was having a better one than me. Or he's doing, he hit it and I didn't. And instead of, what really happens for me is, the thrill I get in knowing you are feeling that kind of pleasure and bliss. I don't need to catch up. I don't need to get there. I just sit in the reverence of you being in it. And that, that's a different way of feeling about somebody else's pleasure. And so I was noticing when I was in front of the mirror, although I was viewing and feeling and I was erotic, I was not orgasmic at that point. And I had no need to be. I wasn't trying to get somewhere. It wasn't like I needed to find the orgasm. What I just wanted to feel was all of your energy running through me, my energy running through me, and see how I move that energy outside of my genitalia. That's the other part about self-pleasure for me.
Talking about a full body practice, like it was so comprehensive. And it was very erotic for me just to hear you, even like I said, when I was still fully clothed and on my yoga mat, to hear your sounds were such a turn on and such a celebration. And then when you chose at the end to go put yourself in the bathtub, my biggest thought around that was, I'm so glad she just feels free to take care of herself and follow her pleasure. So it was a beautiful opportunity to get to share this with Kim. And we do have one more night together. So maybe we'll be back tomorrow morning. I don't know. I haven't invited her yet. But I hope that this inspires you. And it might seem like a really big leap from where you're at to consider sharing this, or maybe this is old hat for you. I've had some really powerful experiences of group sexual encounters where the group component was just simply sharing in space together, not engaging in a more physical way. And there's real liberation in that and real healing. So consider for yourself if that's something you might want to create, and who you'd want to share in that with. I wish you amazing, joyful pleasuring if you are taking this on for yourself. And I will be back with you tomorrow for the next update from Power to the P. Thank you, Kim.
You're so welcome. Thank you for the invite.
Yay.
And thank you for your shared bliss.
Yes, likewise, darling. Bye. See you soon.